At a Senate Banking Committee hearing on Thursday, Senator Raphael Warnock grilled banking CEOs on overdraft fees. The Georgia Democrat spoke about the harm that overdraft fees have on lower income people. Senator Warnock said that the fees, quote, make conditions worse and can keep them trapped in a cycle of debt. Senator Warnock noted that some of the banks represented at the hearing have eliminated overdraft fees and then pressed every CEO if they would commit to eliminating those fees.
I'll now acknowledge myself for a question. When it comes to the cost for families, the country's biggest banks often set the pace for the rest of the country. This is why it's so important for us to hold the biggest banks accountable for the services they provide. Smaller banks imitate policies that you set for your banks throughout the nation. This is especially true for the fees you charge your customers. And in a recent report, the CFPB detailed the crippling effects of overdraft fees and the impact that this is continuing to have on families. These penalties fall on a small number of folks who carry most of the fees, with banks charging 80% of fees to only 9% of account holders. 80% of fees to 9% of account holders. Typically, these lower income folks are already struggling financially. These fees make conditions worse and can keep them trapped in a cycle of debt. I do want to recognize that some of the banks present, such as Citi and Bank of America, have eliminated or taken strides to reduce their fees. Mr. Rogers, earlier this year, Truist announced a new account type with no overdraft fees. How do these accounts affect customers' overall financial health? What are you seeing, especially for those who frequently overdraft and are lower income folks?
Thanks, Senator. Specifically as to Truist One, this is an account with no overdraft fees, but the other feature that I think is almost more important, it has a negative $100 buffer. So in addition to not charging a fee, we did a lot of study and a lot of work about how much clients typically overdraw in terms of an amount. So this $100 negative buffer is afforded to every client and allows them to continue to transact. So not only not have fees, but able to pay the daycare bill, pay the rental bill, and the activity that we've seen in that's really important. And then I think also we have another account called the Truist Confidence Account. And I think in that case we've seen, and we've tried to do some studies around this to learn more, we've actually seen new entrants into the banking system. So someone who was previously unbanked, who may have not come to Truist for some of our other account capabilities, came into our system with these type accounts. So I think in addition to providing the buffers, I think we're affording more entrants into the banking system, which I believe has got to be a goal for us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And some of the banks that are testifying today still have restrictive policies in place that make it difficult for hardworking families to meet their basic needs. So I'd like to ask each of you, and will you commit today to work to eliminate onerous fees? A simple yes or no would suffice, and you can elaborate in writing after the hearing. I'll begin with Mr. Scharf. Will you work to eliminate onerous fees?
Senator, we have an account that does
Simple,
not have fees. Well, we have an account that does not have fees, so the customer has the option, and we're going to continue to look at our fee structures.
Mr. Diamond?
I would say the same thing, and we've already made a lot of changes since that report, which I'd love to share with you. And we have the same type of ways to make it easy for people. I do think giving people a choice and letting them opt in or out is a proper thing to do, and it actually saves them from far worse pain and suffering. They don't bounce a check or something, and a lot of people that gets charged much more on the other side. So when we looked at this, we said it is more respectful. I agree with the fact it gets misused sometimes. We got to do a better job in counseling, closing, et cetera, for those where it's just too much.
So you're committed to doing a better job?
Yes.
Mr. Cesare?
Senator, we also have an account that provides no overdraft fees. I think an important component of this as well, though, is education and alerts to the customers when they're entering a situation that they may overdraft, and help them in advance with other alternatives, and that's something we're also focused on.
Mr. Demchak?
Senator, we led the charge to drop overdraft fees. We have 2 accounts with no fees. We have a unique product that actually allows the client to choose in the moment if they want to return the item or pay the item. And we'll continue to look on how to improve that.
Okay. I've seen personally, as a senator, as pastor, the impact that these fees have on ordinary folks who are just struggling, trying to make ends meet. So this is an important issue, one that I'll stay on. Now, I'm concerned that with part of what's happening in this moment, according to the FDIC quarterly banking profile, the banking sector's profits declined 8.5% year over year in the second quarter of 2022. And here's my concern is that as you are dealing with that larger economic reality, I imagine that you've discussed ways to find new revenue streams or to cut costs. Mr. Monahan, has Bank of America discussed opening up other revenue streams or reintroducing financial products to offset these losses?
No, sir.
Have you considered looking back at the changes your bank has made to reduce fees over the past year?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Frazier, same question. Ms. Frazier, I'm sorry.
We are perpetually looking at what we can do to make our fees more customer friendly, and what we can do to make sure we provide access to those who don't have ready access to banking services. So it's a perpetual move that we make.
So you're committed to not balancing your budget on the banks of the most marginalized customers?
Yeah, we absolutely were committed to that.
Thank you so very much.